Welcome to Studying the One Another's, and this is part 7 of Learn How to Study Important Doctrine series. And this is a really exciting topic to cover because it has such practical implications. Now, tonight's webinar is special because of several reasons. One is included with your purchase will be, well, actually, let me back up here. There'll be here's tonight's training topics: defining the one another's. We're going to look at that. Then we're going to show you how to do English word searching for the one another's, Greek and Hebrew searching for the one another's. We're going to show you how to identify and group some of the verbal ideas, that is, the actions connected with the one another's. We're going to show you how to perform word studies on these ideas, searching your resources for additional insights. We'll even do some internet searching and show you how Logos can leverage that as well. And we'll show you how to effectively use the passage list. And lastly, we'll close up and wrap it up with organizing your information for studying, teaching, and preaching. Who would have thought there was so much you could do with this topic? And it is exciting. Now, tonight there is 2 bonus features. First is there'll be a PowerPoint presentation that you will get with your purchase, and that's here. Now, for this one, it's a little unique. I decided to just make it 3 simple presentation slides, and then packed in there, for example, are the kind of the various topics. You're going to see some of those in there, so you can take those and then spread that out over various slides. So I have the New Testament one another's, and then I've got organized some of the preliminary Old Testament one another's. And I left a little room because certainly you're going to study this topic and discover more for yourself and add to the PowerPoint, but I wanted to give you a good start. So that'll be included free. And then also tonight, very excited, we've got one incredible supplemental guide. Everything I'm going to do tonight is organized. And so the supplemental guide is designed to be used in conjunction with the webinar presentation. But tonight, I've got an extra bonus because, check this out. Based on a suggestion by another Logos user and some things I've been experimenting with, I've been able now, and this is going to be the policy going forward. Now, how in-depth each supplemental guide will of course always depend on the presentation on the webinar. But watch this. I'm going to click on my library. I'm going to type in Learn Logos in the library, and you can see that I have created a book studying the one another's. So what does this mean for you guys? Well, this means the following. What I've done is I have created my supplemental guide in the the Logos personal book builder format. So you will notice, for example, there is a title. There's the fully indexed table of contents. This is very exciting. Plus, all the links will actually do something inside the Logos program. So this is a wonderful way to watch your video and in Logos have the supplemental guide work for you. In addition to that, you'll also be given the book icon, so you can load that up, and I'll also give you the additional book information as well, so that this will truly be an integrated book. So going forward, whenever there's a supplemental guide, you'll have a DocX book that you can load into your personal book builder and add that information. In fact, let me just take one more moment to show you this. So I'm going to go Tools, Book Builder, Personal Books, and we'll click on Edit. And so there's all the information that you're going to enter in. I'll give you that in a format that you can type in, and away you will go. So this is going to take the supplemental guides to just a whole nother level, which means you can search on these webinars and so forth. So this is really exciting. I'm just glad to bring that to you, and looking forward to so tonight we're going to work with this personal book and the Logos program. But I'm going to take this and press F11. I'm sorry, not F11, but let me do it again this way. I was doing F11 earlier today. I'm going to right click and I'm going to open this in a floating window, Control F11. And I'm going to move this off to the side so that we can focus on the Logos tool. So that's one way of leveraging this personal book. If you have 2 monitors, of course. If you're limited to 1 monitor, that could be a little problematic. But that will make things a little bit easier to go. And I'm already seeing some comments in there. Great. Wow, this is a cool idea, and so forth. So glad to bring this into you and looking forward to seeing how this will go tonight. All right, let's go back to the PowerPoint. We got a few more things before we get started. We are literally halfway through the year, if you can believe it. And but that still means with 6 months left, another 18 to 20 more webinars. But we got plenty ahead. Like I said, we're part 7, and we got some more coming up. Don't forget, we have free live training 3 times a month. Next month, on the first Monday of the month, will be divorce and remarriage, some really important issues there to show you how to study. Then on the third Monday of every month, which will be next 2 weeks from today, June 18th, we're going to get into Foundations of Greek Word Study. So this won't be a seminary level class per se, but we are going to teach you some how to understand morphology, how to use morphology, and teach a little bit of morphology. So get ready for your thinking caps on that one. And then the last Monday of every month, the fourth Monday on June 25th, we're going to have the Mastering Your Library series, and the first one is commentaries. And so this series is going to be unique because not only will it go and tell you what are the best commentaries to get, we're going to show you how to use them and leverage them in the Bible study sermon preparing process. So take advantage of that. If you haven't signed up, do so at LearnLogos.com/webinar. The webinars, as you know, are made very affordable. If you think about it, you're getting 1 to 2 hours of training for just a few dollars. And if you come tonight live, you always get it free. We retail for $4.99. That link will be sent to you in the next 24 to 48 hours. And the webinars are very free-flowing, very dynamic, very interactive. Watching the questions come through. For example, Mark says his video's lagging a little bit behind. One of the things you can do, Mark, to speed up your video presentation, number one, is make sure you're not on a wireless connection that's weak. Try to get a very strong wireless connection or connect up wired, or simply disconnect and reconnect. Sometimes you can be connecting and the technology just doesn't give you a good connection. So those would be 2 tips I would do. Make sure you're not running any other processes. And fourthly, make sure there's no other internet downloading going on. For example, if you're indexing Logos or you're downloading some books, things like that can slow your internet connection. And those are great tips for each of us. Now, the webinars, like I said, are very free-flowing, very dynamic. Over at the right, you see our training DVDs. Over 17 hours of training, 305 video lessons. It's the most comprehensive training and the most affordable on the internet. And these training videos take you carefully through every feature of Logos. The orange and green CDs will show you every feature in Logos 4. The blue CDs will take it one step further and show you how to apply those features in the purpose of studying and preparing a sermon. So if you want to study the Bible or prepare a sermon, both is possible with this training. We give you 11 lectures, over 130 book overviews, and then we take you through many exercises each step of the way in the Bible study process. And so all that comes together. They have 2 types of videos, both interactive, where you click on the video and the video simulates the Logos experience, and then you have non-interactive videos, which is your typical press play, sit back, watch, rewind. And all of these videos are at your pace, broken down in small bite-sized bits so that you can learn Logos, take you from beginner all the way through advanced. If you're looking for an affordable solution, this is it. This has more training than Camp Logos 1 and 2, and we sell it for $45 or less, depending if you just want download only, which is only $35. So it's a great way to get it right away. Take advantage of that. And one last thought just on the training videos. One of the things that we're committed to do here at LearnLogos.com is to make sure your training stays up to date. So therefore, anyone who buys the training CDs will always get a free update to the current version of Logos. So for example, if when Logos comes out with 4.6 or 4.7, we're going to update those videos. Now, of course, if Logos comes out with a brand new version, it's totally different, then we kind of reset the clock and start all over. And just to give you an idea, that green CD was a free addition to the current training, and that had over 7 hours of training that you got for free. So take advantage of this. It's a great way to stay up to date in your training. All right, enough of that. Let's get into tonight's topics, and that is defining one another's. Now, some of the resources we're going to be using tonight is scholars or higher, so that's very important, though you don't always need scholars to do everything in here, but we recommend that. We're going to be looking at Bibles, commentaries, some syntax, various commentaries, devotionals, illustrations, and books of application. Now, how would I, or how would you, or I better yet, how biblically do we define the one another's? And I think the key verse, as I've studied this topic, comes down here, John 13:34-35. So I just opened up my New American Standard Bible. You can do that by typing in at the top your Bible up here, and then just entering the passage, John 13:34. Now, I got here quickly because, as I said earlier, I've created this personal book with the link John 13:34. So when I clicked on that, I got the book right away. So very, very helpful. And let me move this out of the way. So why did I pick this passage? Well, let me read this to you. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. I chose this passage because after you complete your study, and after we complete our study on the one another's, it boils down to this: loving others as God has loved us. That is a summary not only of the one another's, but of the law as well. And I also connected it to verse 35 because this is ultimately the test by which the world will judge whether our faith is genuine or not. And it is this: do we have true sacrificial love for one another? And so you could take every single passage in the Bible of application, and at the end will be rooted in the love for God and the love for one another. So I thought we'd get started there to kind of frame up how we're going to proceed tonight. Now let's go back to the PowerPoint here, and let's do step number 2, English word searching for the one another's. And this is going to be kind of interesting because there's going to be some interesting surprises here. Now let's do a simple search. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to search, and I'm going to choose Bible search. And let me turn on my marking up pen just so you can see that. And here we go. So I'm going to click on Bible. And what I want to do is I want to search for the phrase one another in my search. So now, since we're searching for a phrase, we're going to put it in quotes. Very important to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to choose the ESV Bible, which is over here on the right. And I'll put in ESV, and I'll select it from my drop-down list. Now, notice that I have the ESV, all passages, etc. Now I'm going to click on this white arrow in the blue circle, and let's take a look at our search results. Now, if we search the whole Bible on this phrase, we get 159 results. And that's pretty good, taking us from Genesis 11:3 all the way through, if we scroll down at the right, through Revelation 6:4. Now, it's very important to note that not every one another phrase is going to be appropriate. For example, Genesis 11:3, they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." That is not the focus tonight about making bricks. But if we go down, or even take Genesis 37:19, they, that's Joseph's brother, said to one another, "Here comes this dreamer," and we know where that led to. But what I'm getting at is verses like this. Let's go to Leviticus 19:11. Okay, which says, "You shall not steal, you shall not deal falsely, nor you shall not lie to one another." These are the types of passages we want to focus on, this love relationship to one another. But starting with the English is probably where you'd begin. But let's see and show you some of the problems that can happen when you search for one another in the English. So remember this number, 159. Now I'm going to switch translations, and I'm going to go to the NASB. And when I run the search, this time in NASB, I get 155 results. So now there's 4 different verses than the ESV. Let's do this one more time. And in fact, I've already got a question here. It says, Bob says, "I get 163 and 150 verses as my search return ESV. Any reason why there may be a difference?" Well, one reason possibly, Bob, is if you go into the resource panel that's located right here, and you click on that, there's some additional search options. Match case and match all word forms. If you have match all word forms selected, which I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll go back to the ESV to simulate the example, you're going to see now that I've got that 163 and 150 verses. Now, why did I get that back? Because when I search on various word forms, I can get things like apostrophe S or other phrases where the language changes just slightly. And so that's what the extra 4 are going to be. And Bob just wanted to affirm that that was the case. So that can be very helpful. Always check that excuse me, when you're doing searches, because it can really throw off your search results, especially if you have match case, and that can really throw your things off, your search results. So I'm going to turn this off just to keep things consistent, because what I want to do is search for this exact phrase, one another. So we did the ESV, 159 results. We did the NAS, which gave us 155 results. Now let's do the NIV, the New International Version from 1984. And we get 85 results. Wow, that is substantially different. Now, what do? We've got a problem. Depending on which translation, you may get more or less hits. Now you have a dilemma, because you may not be getting the full counsel of the word. And so this poses a real problem when you're searching on the English versions. Now, to show you how bad this can get, let's show you a really cool feature in Logos 4. It's called Searching for All Bibles. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close down my New American Standard. I'm going to stretch this guy out, and I'm going to change the NIV to All Bibles. Okay, so now this may take a few moments depending on, number one, how many Bibles you have, and also how fast your computer is. And excuse me, because we're searching the whole Bible, we're searching for the phrase one another in the whole Bible, in every Bible, the Greek Bibles, the English Bibles, and everything. And as you can see, the results are coming back now. Now, the reason I bring this up is this really shows you why one translation to another can have such a huge impact in your search results. Now, let me explain how this grid, if you've never seen this before, this is powerful summary information. So let me explain the elements. First, we're searching in the grid. And at the top, you're going to see all the various Bible translations tilted at an angle to let you know each column represents one of those Bibles. Now, this one, the NASB, as you can see, kind of has a blue. It's faint, but you can see it there. That tells you which is your default Bible, but also tells you, if you scroll all the way to the right, it also tells you what translation is listed at the right. So, for example, if I clicked on the New King James or the New Jerusalem Bible, you'll see that it's now highlighted in the same color, and the English translation changes at the right. Now, a search like this with all the Bibles is a little bit excessive, but nevertheless, it communicates a lot of information. So let me show you how to read the grid. So let's take this first passage, Genesis 2:25. When you see a box that's colored, but it's not filled, okay, so it's an empty white box, but it has the outline of the color, that means that the verse exists, but the phrase one another is not located there. In fact, if you float your mouse over the box, as I've done, we can read Genesis 2:25. And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. Sorry, I didn't mean to pick that one. Now, if we go over to the BHS, we're going to see that somehow this phrase is in here in the Hebrew. So let's pick a different passage where this may make sense. Genesis 11:3. Here it is. It's colored in, and it says, they said to one another, come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly. So there is the phrase one another. Now, a do not symbol means that passage does not exist in that translation, which makes sense because this is the HDNT, which is a New Testament translation only. We're looking at Old Testament verse. Now, you can see as you float your mouse through these, we're not seeing, for example, the Darby says they said one to another. So the different phraseology can really throw off your search results, and that's all that we're seeing here. So this can help you not only find all the passages where the phrase exists and doesn't exist, but you can begin to look at the different translations and see why it didn't come up. So if, for example, you're like, okay, there's the NAS, but where's the NIV? So we go to the NIV, we locate that in the list, it's too far to the right, and we go, oh, it didn't show up because whatever the reason. So use the colored boxes to find the passage and then look at the other translations in here to see why it didn't come up. And you'll see typically that in most cases it's because of the phrase one to another. And so you might want to go back and change your phraseology to something like this, one to another. And I'm going to change this back to maybe just all English Bibles, just to shorten our search results since I'm looking for twice as much information. And now we're going to get back, now we're going to get a lot back to the result.